Welcome to the Island of Terror, where the queue dodging is strong, and if you do get in, party members are leaving left and right. Hopping right into it, we're gonna be gliding down into the dungeon. On the right and left side, you're going to have two of these braziers. You will need to click either one of these to go ahead and unlock the boss fight. It doesn't really matter which one you go for. I believe the right side, the one we're going here in the video, is the faster route, but you can go either which way. You only need one of them. Keep in mind though, there is a quest assigned to the dungeon to click, I believe it's like 20 or 30 of these things, which you can come in here solo. Just fly down. You can have like daggers equipped or maybe like sword and shield. Just click on them with some defensives and then just zone out and zone back in and repeat until you finish the quest. After about 10 more minutes of you waiting for your group to fill up after somebody leaves, you're going to just head down this path, down these wooden stairs, and the boss will be over towards the left in that puddle of water. Just like the 1-star version of Tyrant's Isle, the first boss is the same thing. You'll fight him, he'll go invisible, and then you'll need to click on one of the flowers to reveal him, and then you can continue fighting him. The only difference between the 1-star and a 2-star with this boss fight is there's only 2 flowers instead of 3, and they do have a fairly long respawn timer. So make sure the group is clicking on the same flower and not everybody's clicking on all the flowers at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of hurt when he goes invisible and you have no flowers to reveal him. Once you've beaten the boss, the doors right behind him will open up and that will lead into the next sort of mini quest to unlock the following boss. And the way to solve this is you're going to pull the first pack that's guarding the door, and then if you just take the left up the wooden stairs, there's going to be a merchant being attacked by some of these lizard men. You'll know that it is the quest NPC via the little white diamond icon above its head. Once you've killed all of the enemies around that merchant, you can jump down the wooden platforms into the water where there will be one more additional ad you got to kill, and then it will be into the boss fight. This boss fight is the same as the boss fight in the 1-star variant, where he will spawn that flaming wall and you have to jump over it. The only difference in the 2-star version is he won't just jump to the back center. He can jump to the left corner or the right corner and spawn that flame wall at an angle towards you guys. Also, he does it back to back, so he'll do a flame wall, small pause, and another flame wall right afterwards. So you have to do a jump, a small little pause, and then a jump again. Once you're down to that boss, you're just going to run straight through the water here to where the boss has murdered our good old friend Tublek, sadly. And then you're going to hop into this geyser, and it's going to shoot you up into the air, and you're going to fly over to the left, and you're going to go up the path towards the third boss of the dungeon. Once you get into the opening, there will be some trash that you can kill. The second pack you can skip. You'll just have to fight the boss on the further end of the arena to avoid them padding into you, or you can just go ahead and kill them where they're walking. This third boss is very similar to the 1-star variant, where he's going to mark a player with that glowing red beam of light, and they have to stand behind one of these flaming totems to have the boss charge into the totem, preventing the damage from hitting the player. The only difference is that for each totem that is not destroyed by his charge, when the mechanic finishes, the amount of AoE damage that goes out will be higher. Your team should be able to survive 2 totems, but if all 3 are up, you're most likely going to die. So it is very important that whoever has that red beam of light does stand behind that totem. Now keep in mind, he does snare the person that is marked with the red beam as well, so it is recommended that that player be a bit further behind the totem. It is recommended that the boss be tanked in the center of the totems because he does have a max charge distance on his charge. And as you just saw, he actually didn't make it to that second totem, even though the player that was marked did get behind it. But if he was in the center, he would have actually hit it, and it would have reduced the amount of damage that the group took. All right, so the final boss. Before we get into the mechanics, just a few little tips and tricks to help you out. If you hold control on your keyboard and you right click on your screen, you'll be able to place a way marker for either personal or group markers like I have on the screen with the blue 1 through 4. Now you can do this if you're the party lead to show your party where the geysers are, which will be important later. And you can use the yellow personal markers to mark where the flowers are for yourself. So the mechanics for the last boss. We're going to go over the smoke mechanic first. What the boss will do is cover the entire arena in smoke, preventing you from seeing the geysers, preventing you from seeing the flowers. The way to get rid of the smoke is to get hit or walk into the blue fire that he does when he shoots down the meteor skill, and then you run into the smoke and that'll clear parts of the smoke away. He will do the meteors twice, so your priority on the first set of meteors is to clear the area where the geysers are so you can fully see the geyser, and then the second time is to clear the center of the arena where you're fighting him. That way you can actually see through the arena. Things to be careful with this though is, one, trying not to get 3 stacks of that burn as it will hurt, and 2, not being out of the range of your healer too much. That way they don't have to chase you down and heal you as you're dying from all that burn damage. For my healers out there and bow users, try not to use Nature's Blessing or Clay's Salvation or any of your cleanses during this phase, as it will remove that burn effect off of players and then not allow them to clear up the smoke. The last one is, try not to run around in your morph as much, because he will be doing the regular and fury dodge attacks at the end of that phase or during that phase sometimes as well, and you do want to have some stamina left over to be able to use your block ability. Shortly after he does the second meteor, he will go ahead and pick one of the 4 geysers and cause it to steam up. That will be your signal to go stand in it, and it will shoot you up into the air. Just like in the 1-star version, you turn to a bird and you dive back down. Unlike the 1-star version where there's 2 geysers that do that, in the 2-star there's only 1. The second mechanic he does is just like in the 1-star. He will pull everybody into the center and turn everyone into a rat. The addition to this is he will have a green ring around the outside of himself. This ring follows the boss's model. It's not static, so be careful. If you touch that ring, it will cause you to fear yourself and you'll just run around as the mouse. The point of this phase, unlike the 1-star, isn't to run to your flower immediately. The point of it is to kind of tire out the boss. The way that we resolve this mechanic is, when he turns you into the rats after he pulls you in, he will do a small little knockback. So don't try to run away from him. Wait for him to do his knockback. It'll push everybody back just a little bit, and then slowly just back out a little bit more. Following that, the boss is going to select one of the party members and run towards them and try to eat them. That player then needs to dig. Not before, but only when the boss runs up to them and tries to eat them. They will dig, and that person will stay underground for the entirety of the rest of the mechanic. He will then select a new party member, run to them and try to eat them, and then that person will dig and stay underground. And you want to keep repeating this, and the boss will tire himself out after about 3 or 4 attempts at trying to eat somebody. That green ring will disappear, and then everybody digs back up and they run towards their flower, turning them back into humans. Again, keep in mind, you're not digging back up when you avoid being eaten. When the boss hits 50% HP or less, he will change only the geyser mechanic. The rat mechanic will stay the same. And the only addition to the geyser mechanic is when he shows you the geyser that knocks you up, while you're in the air, he will cause a second geyser to start steaming up. So instead of turning into the bird and diving straight back down, you're going to be shot up, turning into the bird and flying over to the second geyser, diving down into it, and then it'll shoot you back up into the air. And then you can dive back down and continue with the fight. And that'll be the full Island of Terror guide. Let me know what you guys think about this dungeon. Some people say it is the hardest one in the game. I did enjoy it. As always, don't forget to like the video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel. This was Fate, and I hope everybody enjoys the holidays wrapping up in November and going into December.